Now we were on 27th of Tammuz. It marks the Hilula of a very famous rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Meir Abadi, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, great rabbi of his time. He was born in English in 1937, passed away 27th of Tammuz in the year 2005. Now he was born, came from great rabbinic auspices. His father's name was Rabbi Chaim Abadi, a rabbi I think we've spoken about before in this series, and his mother's name was Rabbanit Agelet Ne'ima. And he was born in Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel, in the year 1937. Now, his father, Rabbi Chaim Abadi, would move to Eretz Israel, I think to the area of the city of Intab, if I'm not mistaken. That's quite near, I think, more nearish towards Aleppo in Syria, let's just say in of itself. So he would actually make this very, very important move over there. And I think at that point, it was risk of his life even to come move. And he went along with a big group of several other people from the Aleppo region. They would go and settle in Jerusalem. Now, I believe what's very interesting is his maternal grandfather, it's reported over, was famous Kabbalist we've spoken about on the series before, Rabbi Yaakov Lopez, very great rabbi. Now, when he was young, he would learn in the famous Tiferet Zion Yeshiva in Yerushalayim. That's where he would learn. And then I think a window period afterwards, he would study in the famous Ponovich Yeshiva in Bnei Brak, let's say the bastion of Lithuanian yeshivot, respectively. At that point in time, it was headed by Rabbi Yosef Shlomo Kahneman and Rabbi Shmuel Rozovsky. That's what was the great rabbis heading that specific Torah academy. Now, Rabbi Yaakov Meir Abadi, I think, married the daughter of Chacham ben Ziona Kohen, Rabin, very, very great rabbi. He was actually, interesting enough, the rabbi of the Bukharian community. Now, after he got, I believe, his engagement, he would go on to return to Jerusalem and study at the famous Yeshivat Porat Yosef. That's the bastion of the Sephardic Yeshivot. That was under the famous Rabbi Ezra Atiyah, like one of the great rabbis of the 1900s. It will be, I think, come 1964, he will begin studying in under the guidance of Rabbi Yehuda Adas, respectively. I think it was called Yaakov Yeshiva, if I'm not mistaken. He would suffer, unfortunately, I think, with jaundice illness, which would really affect him, and it would be so bad he'd have to be hospitalized for several weeks. I think this was in the year 1972. This was obviously that was a tough period. Then, I think when he recovered, he would take upon himself to give Gemara classes to people, to Balabatim, or I think at the Or HaTorah synagogue in his neighborhood. This would be under the guidance and steering of Maran Rishon LeZion, Rabbi Avadi Yosef, who happened to be, I believe, the Sephardi chief rabbi of Israel, if I'm not mistaken, possibly maybe from 73 to 1983, was doing huge amounts of important works for the Sephardi community and for the whole of Israel. He would deliver a weekly sermon also over there inside the synagogue. That's very interesting. After giving chizuk to other people, he would give regular classes, especially in halakha, at a synagogue called the Bורוכוב video, and he would teach the book of the Kafar Chaim on the Leila Seder, the Seder night, respectively. Come at the year 1973, he began studying at the Kollel Shem, I think the Bukharian neighborhood. This was headed by another famous rabbi, Rabbi Shmuel Oyabach, and in 1977 he would establish, let's say, and initiate the Netz Hama Kollel, where elders, scholars, let's say, study from 4 in the morning that early, and headed through the Emet Yaakov Kollel, which would continue giving lessons all throughout the day. Very interesting. 1981, it's reported of, sadly, he would suffer from Parkinson's disease and suffer a very, very bad torment, let's just say, and serious illness for about as many as 25 years. But despite this, he continued with, let's say, steadfast action, spirit. He was willing to engage in service of, or he engaged in service of God at a very, very high level with all his strength until, let's just say, the illness had really overcome him greatly, unfortunately. Now, it's interesting, he passed away on the 27th of Tammuz in the year 2005. Where was he buried? He was buried in Mount Hamenuchot in Jerusalem. That's where he was buried, so we're talking about 20 years ago. We're not recording this actually right at the time of the Hilula, but be it as may, it's a big story. I think his articles were collected by his sons in the book Truth for Yaakov, and in 2 parts. I think that was published actually itself in the year 2012. But that's very interesting. Let's examine a couple of the teachings from the great rabbi's book, because there really was good Torah teachings over there also, which we have to point out without a doubt. So that is That's very, very much interesting. So we talked about in 1981. Okay, so let's explore a few of the highlights of the teachings from the book over here. מלמד שמשנה את הרגלו מוכיח שאין מעשיו, let's say, מצוות אנשים לא מודע. Then another teaching, למד ואקחה פת לחם, שמה שהוא נתן, הוא לוקח לעצמו זכויות. That's another teaching, I think coming from, I'm not sure the page exactly of this book, but חלק א', whatever it was, I think it was printed in 2012. מלמד ברכת אפרים ומנשה, שלא יקנאו איש באחיו. That jealousy should not come, especially if we're going to give a blessing like Yaakov Meir gave to Ephraim and Manasseh over there. Okay, and one last teaching, let's just go for מלמד, שמדבר לשון הרע, טורפים לו כל מצוותיו בפניו. So the sincerity, the severeness of, God forbid, if someone says lashon hara, well, what the consequences actually are, which is very, very scary over there. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about famous rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the great rabbis we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information. If anyone is interested in watching these videos, please share these videos also to other people. Let's enjoy, learn together, grow. It's on this channel. We are not just doing videos of the great Chachamim. We do tours all over Israel. That's another, let's say, a special treat, a special coup that we are doing here on this channel, and many, many other importances. So I think it's very, very crucial. And we do a Parshas Shvuah, Daf Yomi. We tour around the country. We have an interesting, let's say, Jewish personality that comes and usually every single day gives over some chizuk also to Am Yisrael, which I feel is very, very important and something that we are doing over here. But nonetheless, wishing you a fantastic day. Take care and be well.